You know the worst thing about being a slave? They make you work, but they don't pay you or let you go. I don't care how educational it is. Let's do it!
Welcome to the world of tomorrow!
Why do you always have to say it that way?
Haven't you ever heard of a little thing called showmanship?
Ah, Futurama. It has been known as one of those cult shows, one of those one-off series creators of more popular shows make from time to time, in between the coke and swinger parties. Starting off with a simple pilot, Futurama was about the average guy named Fry, who happened to trap himself in a cryogenic freezer for about 1,000 years. One day, Fry is able to get out of cryogenic freezing and is assigned a generic job by Leela, one of the show's main characters. She lets him know that he has a great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great nephew, Dr. Hubert Farnsworth. He escapes his newfound lot in life, which is bullshit just like today's job situation. No one wants to sleep it off for 1,000 years only to wake up to the equivalent of a Walmart job. Eventually, after making his escape, he runs into Bender, and escaping the law, he eventually runs into his nephew, which gives him the same job he ran away from.
Alright! I'm a delivery boy!
Again, as they make deliveries, they run into a crazy assortment of characters and goofballs from around the universe, along with their own ragtag crew of weirdos. This is the premise for Futurama, a story told in the distant, yet not too distant future when you really think about it, because many of the lessons, the comedy, and the sci-fi happen in such a way that it's sooner than you think. What makes Futurama such an important show? Well, it first appeared on March 28th of 1999. Created by Simpsons creator Matt Groening and writer David X. Cohen, Futurama could have been the run-of-the-mill, standard workplace cartoon with boring workplace themes, but because of the emphasis on character development and world building in the entire show comes to life as it does, it takes a silly, childish humor on top of that and blends of adult humor and some very heartwarming and charming moments and stories. Ugh, I think I got some slurm in my mouth. Ooh, that sounds terrible out of context. Futurama could have just as easily have been a kid's cartoon, but Matt Groening wasn't interested in that. Matt wanted to tell a story, and to take what he did for his take on the nuclear American family and shift that into the new century.
I've been fascinated by a whole bunch of stuff in our culture. For instance, I love the American family, and so with The Simpsons, that was my take on the American family. So what I've done to the American family with The Simpsons, we're going to do to science fiction with Futurama.
Not only that, but his writing staff was completely overqualified. No, seriously, they had PhDs on payroll. One of the most important things in a movie or a show involving science is that the reasoning needs to check out and can hold up for long periods of time. With many PhD holders on payroll, if they could not make a story that makes sense from a scientific perspective, making it up would be the only other option. And when nobody knows the answer, the imagination is definitely free to roam.
Damn it! We'll have to fix the engine ourselves.
We can't, you bastard! No one knows how it works! It's impossible!
Nothing is impossible. I understand how the engines work now. It came to me in a dream. The engines don't move the ship at all. The ship stays where it is, and the engines move the universe around it.
That's a complete load.
Nothing's a complete load. Not if you can imagine it. That's what being a scientist is all about, right, Professor?
The backdrop of serious science and philosophy with the petty undertones of the residents of Futurama's universe made up for compelling stories hitting the need for deep thought and harmless laughs here and there, with a nice lacing of feels throughout the series.
Mom? There's so much I need to say. Is it really you?
Yes. I've dreamed about you a lot since you disappeared. What did you want to tell me?
God, I love it for it. Futurama is not the first adult-aimed cartoon, but it did pave the way for many to follow, with a critically acclaimed show like Rick and Morty being able to world build in the realm of sci-fi, premiering long after Futurama's last episode. Because of this, Futurama was able to hit major subjects like climate change and prejudice and what is God.
Bender, being God isn't easy. If you do too much, people get dependent on you. And if you do nothing, they lose hope. You have to use a light touch, like a safecracker or a pickpocket.
Or a guy who burns down a bar for the insurance money.
Yes, if you make it look like an electrical thing.
Gender appreciation, and so much more. Futurama teaches you to appreciate your standing in the universe, for yourself and for those that you hold near and dear. that we're all connected, all petty, and have a lot of love and stupidity to give the universe. Go figure. And like I said, don't forget the feels. Futurama was one of those rare shows that would find the time to incorporate science into its world, incorporate how people realistically act towards situations in nuanced jadedness and often dumb as hell and ill-advised manners, while reminding you we may fight, fart, and make dumb caveman noises, a lot of dumb caveman noises, but reminds us all that we're all human. We all have hopes, dreams, fears, things we can all connect to, relate to, and what we should cherish the most while we have it, because before you know it, it's gone. Futurama was one of those rare shows that could survive being killed off time and time again. It's as if the show had its own set of Dragon Balls. Futurama was one of those rare shows that made its own memes before memes were even commonplace as they are today.
Shut up and take my money!
Considering it was canceled 4 times and rose from the ashes each time to revive itself only to continue to make us laugh and cry, it's a show worth checking out, and a show that's good for the soul and the noggin. If you remember the show or have never seen it before, find a place to sit down and watch it. Do it for yourself. Do it because the show has plenty of good lessons to teach you. And above all else, do it because the goddamn Hypnotoad said to.
There's nothing you can do for them. They are a force between. When the sunlight is rising, there's nothing you can say to him. He is an outer heart, and the space has been broken. Broken. Oh, love. Broken.
I'm so tired of partying.